Welcome back again to Make Your Own Destiny podcast, the podcast that inspires you to shape your future. So today we are with Elisha, who is an artist, a marketer, an entrepreneur, and the founder of Msasa Podcast, space whereby people come and gather to talk about failure. So today we are going to uncover Elisha's path. So as we do that, Elisha is going to share a story that no one knew. So stay until the end to find out about that, and I will let you be the judge. And also, as you keep watching, don't forget to like and subscribe because it's free. So if you want to show support to this podcast, just hit the like button. We always bring very interesting guests in this podcast. So if you have any other guest that you think is interesting and he or she is going to share value, just comment down below their name and we'll make sure we'll reach out to them and bring them in this podcast. So I'm with my brother Elisha. Elisha.
Yes, bro.
You're welcome.
Asante. I'm happy to be here. Yeah.
So who is Elisha?
It's a broad question.
Yeah.
Elisha is a guy who has dreadlocks but is not a Rastafarian.
Okay.
Who likes the Rastafarian thought process and religion but still eats meat. Rastam la nyama.
Okay.
Elisha is a marketer, a creative, a singer, songwriter, musician, artist, event organizer, husband, brother, friend, confidant, mentor, mentee, and Tanzanian, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're an artist, a content creator, an entrepreneur.
So no, I'm not a content creator.
Yeah.
But I am an artist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
In my own opinion, with regards to what are the qualities that are required for somebody to be a content creator?
Okay.
I sincerely don't have them.
Okay.
Yeah, and I am blessed whenever I have people around me that, in my opinion, are true content creators. I do not think I'm a content creator. I create content.
Okay.
I do not do it by myself. Anything that has been of any value from my end has never happened because I did it myself.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not a content creator, no. I'm an artist though, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you share a bit of your journey about marketing and being an artist and being an entrepreneur? Like, how did you get started from where you started to where you are right now?
Sure. So I started doing music before everything else.
Okay.
Actually, no, I started doing sales and then I got into music.
Okay.
Because sales is the easiest job to get. Yani mtu yote ambaye kwa mfano they just finished high school. Sorry, I'm going to catch myself speaking both English and Swahili.
Okay.
Yeah. When you look at the Tanzanian market, right?
Yeah.
Anybody who is not like a graduate, it's quite difficult to get part-time jobs here, which is quite different from like foreign countries like the UK, the US. You could be mowing someone's garden or you could be cleaning the pool and all that stuff, right? Here it's not that easy. But if there is one thing that you can do for anybody at any age, regardless, is sales. That's the one thing that you can go knock on someone's door and say, hey, I want to sell this for you. And they don't even have to hire you because people can pay on commission. So I actually started in sales. But music was something I always loved. I did that. I did it for a while. I did it through university. In the process of doing it, I did events. When I was doing events, without knowing, I was learning and practicing marketing. I didn't know I was doing it. As I was doing it, I see it now that I own an agency. I'm like, oh, wow. Like, I guess this is why I learned all this stuff. I learned branding, I learned advertising, we did billboards, we did digital ads, Google ads, Facebook ads, all those things, radio ads, we did interviews, we did PR, we did direct sales, direct marketing, lead generation, all those things. And so I kind of found myself doing marketing without knowing that I'm actually doing it. And there was a period in my life where I was working and I wasn't going to university. So when I actually went to school, um, that's when I was like, oh, okay, I guess I do a lot of marketing. Yeah.
Let's talk about Msasa Podcast. You know, the first time I saw your podcast is when you did an interview with Farid Kubanda. It was a very nice interview, by the way. And
Thank you.
you have a very great podcast, and your growth is amazing because, as I saw, you just started 4 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, this is March. We released our first episode on the last week of November.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to start Msasa Podcast, and why did you decide to focus on stories about failure?
So right now, we run a marketing agency, okay? Which is called Neiked. Neiked is the marketing agency.
Okay.
And as a team, we have been always thinking about what can we do for other people for the sake of just doing good for the sake of good. Yeah, with no business agenda. And so we've had many ideas. Many of them obviously didn't make it. The podcast made it. And even when we came up with the name, Msasa is, so you know when you think of a carpenter, and a carpenter has to rub a piece of wood paka iwe smooth, right? And then they do the polish. Similar to the same way a diamond has to go under rigorous, right? Scenarios in order for it to shine, right?
Exactly.
So that's the idea, and the thinking behind that was that a lot of people who we admire, a lot of people who are doing amazing things, are people who had to go through most of the time, not always. Some people are just like, hey, it is what it is. But most of them had to go through a rigorous experience. And so we thought, you know what would be cool? Let's talk to these same people who are doing very, very cool shit. And let's talk to them about not the cool shit. Let's talk to them about what it took to get there. So that's why Msasa is a show where we talk to successful people about failure.
You are an artist, right? Yeah. Means you were doing music.
Yeah.
And then now you do marketing and sales.
Marketing more than sales.
Okay.
I don't do sales.
So your experience as an artist, how did it
Right.
shape you to get into marketing?
I guess it shapes me in the sense of I know what a creative project looks like. I know what it takes. I am empathetic from the creative standpoint. And so I understand when a creative is unable to deliver because I've worn their shoes. The other new skills that I had to learn was business. So how do you balance between being a businessman and being an artist? When the designer tells you, I don't know how long this logo is going to take. It could be 2 minutes or 8 weeks. I don't know. But I'm going to do my best, and I'm going to try and give you a first draft. That's why we have drafts in there. So it's shaped me in that there's a empathetic angle for myself and the team and people I work with. And I just had to learn how to do business.
You talk about failure
Yeah.
in a podcast.
Yeah.
So what are the common misconceptions about failure? Based on how I look at it, I've failed a lot of times myself. I've started a couple of businesses that has failed, but every time I fail, I learn something new, and I really like failing, but as long as I keep failing forward, that's what I like. I keep trying and failing forward.
Yeah.
So based on your approach, what's the most common misconception about failure?
That failure is bad. That's the misconception. Failure is a bad thing to do. Ukiwa shule, when you do an exam, you either pass or fail. When you fail, you feel terrible, and you're a bad person, and you didn't study enough because you failed something. And that in itself is the misconception, because if you did not fail, how are you supposed to get better? Most of the time, it does seem like the people who fail the most and fail the quickest make it. And everybody else doesn't make it. So you're kind of lucky that you're able to fail, and as long as it didn't kill you. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the misconception that I think revolves around failure is that it's it's the end of the world. It's really not. You just failed. You fucked up. Pick yourself up. Move on. And fail again, and then again, and then again. Get over yourself. It will happen over and over. It's more along the lines of, who are you after you failed?
I think it's very, very bad, because I remember at school we used to get punished just because we failed.
Yeah.
I think that should change, and we should be rewarded for failing.
I don't think we should be rewarded for failing, though. No. Because then there's a difference between embracing failure and rewarding failure. I think we should embrace it. We shouldn't be scared of the rain. But you shouldn't necessarily be rewarded for doing bad things.
What's the biggest failure that you've had in your life?
There's so many. So it's at different levels. There have been different failures. So there is no one biggest failure. Not yet. I think I haven't lived long enough to have that one big. Yeah.
And how does the failure shape your journey as an entrepreneur?
It teaches you what works, what doesn't, what to do, what not to do. Yeah.
You do marketing.
Yeah.
You're a very good marketing guy.
Thank you.
And I could see from how your podcast grew so fast.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what strategies, as in marketing strategies, did you use for your podcast for you to experience that huge growth that you've had?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I do not think it's one thing. So we're constantly iterating and adapting. As I'm doing this interview today with you, we've only done like 10 episodes, maybe. Is it 10? Like 11? Hivyo yani sio nyingi. Na kila moja ambayo ilikuwa inakaribia kuwa released, it had I mean, it's been like this, yani. So this is the thing. We know what we want to do. We know why we're doing what we are doing. We know what our end goal looks like. And then we're flexible in how it gets done. Sometimes everything is on time and it works. Sometimes it's not. And how we go about pushing it is quite flexible. So I guess the strategy is trying to be adaptable without losing sight of the end goal. Yeah. I don't know yet. Yeah. Ask me the same question tukiwa tumevuka like 50 episodes, and I'll tell you, Wana, the strategy for this kind of content and this kind of podcast and this kind of market is 1, 2, 3. Right now, I don't know.
I ask you that because I've seen a lot of your ads.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of your ads. Like, you have a very nice website.
Thank you. Yeah.
So when someone looks at that,
yeah,
say there's someone who knows what they're doing, who are behind this.
I will say this though. Do not start a podcast if you do not know your shit. Because then you're just a content creator, and there's a difference between a podcaster and a content creator, which is why I'm not a content creator. I'm not that good. But if you know something enough, people will listen. Yeah. As from a marketing standpoint, we're pretty good. Yeah.
We have been approached by a lot of people who come to our DMs and ask, like, hey, how do I get started? I want to start my own podcast. Where do I start? So what advice would you like to share for those kind of people who wants to get started?
Penye nia pana njia, know your shit. Know your shit. You want to do a podcast about health, right? And working out and having a healthy lifestyle. Have a healthy lifestyle before you talk about a healthy lifestyle. You know what I mean? Eh? Know your shit, because at the end of the day, it is about what you say a lot more than it is about the mics and the camera. Yeah, we were talking off air kwamba nyimbo nzuri ni nyimbo nzuri tu. Unajua ukisikiza nyimbo za kibongo malo, hey hello ma da. Nyimbo zote zilizofuata baada ya ile nyimbo zilikuwa zina production nzuri zaidi ya ile nyimbo. Hajaikuwa na nyimbo nzuri kama ile nyimbo. Sio kama nyimbo zilizo mbaya, lakini a good song is a good song regardless of the production. People keep on asking about mics and cameras and nini. It's important, yes. It is very, very important. And by no means do I mean to diminish that fact. But the only thing that is constant, pi, 22/7, right? Know your shit. Pick an angle that you know. If you don't know it and you like the angle, educate yourself about the angle. Then do that podcast.
Yesterday I was looking at the charts on Apple Podcasts.
Okay.
And I found Msasa Podcast was actually one of the top podcasts in Tanzania.
Nice.
It was number 2, I think. So,
who's number 1?
Number 1 was it's not Tanzanian podcast. I don't know from which country, but it was number 1.
But in the Tanzanian audience, no, inaongoza.
Yeah, and inaongoza.
And who's number 3?
I don't remember.
Okay. Yeah.
So I believe you didn't get there just by luck. I believe everything is planned.
Yeah.
You have been planning and you have been executing it. So what are the strategies that you put to get to that point?
So I didn't know we're number 2. I sincerely didn't know. I think we're doing well. We're doing long form content that is edutainment a little bit more than it is entertainment. And so we are doing this knowing that there are a lot of people that we are missing, but we're being, I guess, tunabishi tu kwamba hichi ndio tunachotaka kufanya. We don't have a specific strategy yet. Yeah. I don't want to bullshit. We don't. Like right now, at this point in time, I will answer that question so much better after episode 50. Because we release an episode every week, every Sunday. 50, it means to me release almost a year worth.
Yeah.
I can tell you what works, what doesn't. Right now, all I can tell you is we know our shit within the context of what we talk about. We talk about failure because we've got so much ourselves, right? We have an incredible team, right? Everybody pulls their weight. And then kuna production pia. But production is the last thing.
So guys, as you heard from Elisha, after 50 episodes,
ask me the same question. Yeah, ask me the same question.
So if you want a part 2 with Elisha, just comment down below Msasa. 100 comments, we're gonna bring Elisha again.
Amen.
Yeah. Most people are scared of taking risks because they're also scared of failure. But they don't know that everything you do is risky. Even being born is risky. If you just get out the door, you are risking your life. You know, you never know, you can get hit by a car or a bicycle. Everything is risky. So from what you do, I understand you're a risk taker and you have been taking a lot of risks in your life. So at what moment did you take a risk and it really paid off, that you can remember, okay, I took this risk and it really took me far?
It hasn't happened to me yet. No. I don't have that experience.
So you don't take any risks?
No, I take a lot of risks. Your question, if I understand, your question is, at what point in time did you take a risk that really, really paid off?
Yeah.
Not yet. I'm not rich.
Okay.
Yeah, paid off sini pesa wana. Tunaishi bado, tunabangaiza. Yeah, bado haijanitokea. Yeah.
So in terms of personal growth,
yeah,
and learning and developing, so how do you learn and what has been your biggest resources of learning so that you can develop more as a person?
Okay. So one, I think I'm very, very good student of the University of YouTube. Yeah, yani kama wangekuwa natoa PhD wala washikaji wakilipa za kutosha sana. Being self-taught it helps. It saves time. Siamini kwamba kila kitu lazima uende chuo. Of course, there are unique skill sets that may require you to be in a room full of other intellectuals for that to happen, but there are many more that don't require it. So I do a lot of YouTube. Yeah, I listen to a lot of content that teaches me a thing or two about something new. Everything, bro. Everything from sales and marketing to real estate to business development to creative design, although I'm not a designer, to content creation, to strategy, to media, to photography, videography, to marriage, to how to be a good friend, how to be a good husband. You know, I'm a very good student of the University of YouTube. In my previous years, when I was a little bit younger, I used to read a lot of books. Right now, I don't read a lot of books, as much as I don't like that fact. I don't read as much as I used to. It would take me quite a while to finish a book. But yeah, man, mostly YouTube podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcasts. Yani, a lot. Yani, a lot. There's a lot of content out there. And you know, the beautiful thing about podcasts is podcasts done right are not interviews. That's why journalists aren't supposed to be doing podcasts, because they turn it into interviews. It's non-journalists who have really amazing podcasts most of the time, not all the time, most of the time. Kwa nini? Kwa sababu podcast is somebody choosing to put their time, effort, and money and resources to produce a piece of content that could be of value to somebody they will never ever meet in their lifetime. You know what I mean, eh?
Yeah.
And afu pia ukiangalia kwenye hizi engo ambazo the topics are serious. Like, there's this guy I follow who talks about real estate. I'm interested in real estate. I'm particularly interested in real estate. Like, I know how to market it, I don't know how to sell it yet. So najifunza, kati ya vitu ambavyo najifunza sasa hivi. Na the way he talks about it in a way that you know that he's doing it, and he also hasn't got everything figured out. And that is very, very enriching. Right? Like, if you listen to it long enough, episode 1 and episode 42, 2 different personalities. He's also discovering himself. And so, yeah, I listen, I watch, I read when I can, as much as I can. But I mostly Google on YouTube.
Do you have any podcast that's your favorite on YouTube right now?
Right now, no. But I listen a lot to The Future. But I listen, I don't watch him. I listen to him a lot when I'm driving, when I'm taking a shower in the morning. I listen to The Future. It's written Futur, Future without the E. And I listen a lot to these guys when I talk 2 Bobs. 2 number 2, BOBS. I listen a lot to those guys, almost every day. Yeah.
You said YouTube is like a university to you.
Yeah.
So that means you have been watching, learning a lot from YouTube.
Yeah.
But then a few years back, there has been a rise of this kind of people who are called the fake gurus. You may just go there and listen, and then you get overwhelmed with the information, which most of it is misleading. So how do you filter information on YouTube that you know, okay, this thing might be very helpful?
I don't know. I guess I search for very specific things, because most of the times I'm trying to learn a very specific thing or fix a very specific problem. I run an agency. We're consulting. We trade time for money. And one of the things, for instance, that I've also learned is we're not the most expensive, but we are far away from cheap. Tuko hapo katikati. And so, for instance, I had to learn, and I'm continuously learning, how to price appropriately, and also how to have the uncomfortable conversations around price. And so I Google very specific things. Price, how to have uncomfortable conversations about price. Yeah, and if go on a history of how I search, my search is on Google or YouTube or whatever are very specific. It's not price. It's like nimeamka asubuhi alafu tumbo linauma lakini najisikia kama search. Yeah.
You said you also do marketing. Mainly you have a marketing agency.
Yeah.
So what kind of marketing do you do for your clients on a daily basis?
So we are primarily a strategic communications firm. What that means is, for us, strategy comes above everything else. So because when you know the answer to the why are we doing this? What problem are we trying to solve? for whom, in which way, how quickly, what does success look like? Once we have the answer to the why, we conceptualize and develop campaigns and marketing communication materials, and we launch. With regards to how we launch, it varies, right? It could be anything from social media to billboards to radio ads to animations, cartoons, comics, branding work, websites, applications. We're a full service marketing firm. Yeah. But we lean very, very heavily on our thinking.
Marketing is just a part or like a department in a business.
Right.
How important is marketing for business?
It's the most important thing.
Okay.
In my opinion, marketing is the most important thing that you do that is seen. Everything else is important, but not as seen as the marketing that you do. And since you are in a business, and the business of business is business for business to happen, somebody needs to do the right kind of marketing so the sales guy can do a sale and close a deal and make some money.
So for the money that I make in a business, let's say, for the profit that I make as a marketer, what percent would you advise someone to allocate straight on marketing?
That's a really good question. So it really depends on the industry. It also depends if you're doing a service or a product. Most clients, we would recommend that they consider anywhere between 7 to 25%. So if you're in a very volatile business, like, I don't know, kitu gani kina watu wengi sana, sports betting, you probably need to have invested a much higher percentage than if you are in a niche where your target audience is 1,000 people, Yeah.
There has been a rise of artificial intelligence, AI, recently. How do you incorporate that on doing marketing for people?
We're figuring it out. Yeah. AI is amazing. It's beautiful. You can't fight it, so embrace it or you will die. We're figuring it out, to be honest. We're figuring out where does AI come in and where does it not, and to what extent it comes in. So for instance, one of the things we're observing is the fact that kama huna akili, AI ikusaidii. Because hujui unachokitafuta, unaelewa yani ndio maana kwa mfano you could have two people who are making prompts on AI to solve the same problem, two people making prompts, and one of them comes up with an answer and the other one doesn't, or the other one comes up with a mediocre answer. You get? So kama una akili tu. So figuring that out, but also figuring out how to use AI for our own benefit. Because, for instance, some jobs, like, AI is very good with analysis. Yeah, when we do activities, we launch things, we want to be able to analyze, okay, what is the return on investment? What is the ROI? What is the return on ad spend? ROADS? Na kadhalika. Na AI kazi ambayo ingechukua labda siku 4, siku 6, inachukua masaa 3 au mawili. Yeah, so it saves time, which makes us all more efficient, unajua, and you can do many other things within the same day. AI can do video, can do photography, like images na nini. So we're also figuring out, when do we use AI, when do we not use AI. We're figuring it out, but it's a beautiful thing and we're very much embracing it. Yeah.
What's the most effective way of marketing in 2024?
Know your why. Yeah. If you don't know why you're doing something, you are very, very lost. And if you're getting results, that's luck. You're not good at it. But when you're very specific with your why, magic happens.
Okay, because I asked you that question because last year we tried doing some marketing on TVs and radio. So we actually went to one of the top traditional medias here, and we didn't get any result. But when we came to social media, that's where we got the big results. So
yeah.
Do you think TV and traditional medias are dead?
No, not for this market. Radio is still the most powerful thing, followed very closely by bulk SMS. Bro, you will not believe it. Hizi messages zinazotumwa ambazo zingia kwenye bulk SMS yako na smartphone, unaingia WhatsApp, lakini kuna watu wengi zaidi ambao hawaingii WhatsApp. hizo messages zinasomwa na watu wanafanya vitu. So every channel can work. It just depends. Do you know how to use the channel? Are you communicating in the right way in that channel? So it's possible, for instance, if you run a campaign on a radio na hiyo campaign haikuleta matokeo ambayo ulikuwa unayatarajia, labda tangazo lilikuwa baya. Au labda the timing of that tangazo lilikuwa baya. Labda presenters hawakuelewa zaidi brief na hawakuweza kuizungumzia vizuri kama umesponsor show. Unaelewa? Yani sidhani kwamba ni kweli social media is everything. It is a lot of things, but so are other things. Know your why, know your audience, know what you're doing. If you don't, get advice from people who do so that you make informed decisions.
Let's say I want to market and sell a TV right now. How would you market it?
First of all, I need a check for $5,000 and then we can talk. I sell my thinking, very much so. Yeah, so I can't do that for you right now.
Okay, guys, you heard it. If you want to know how to market your stuff, we have the guy here.
Yeah. Njona ka budget kidogo lakini.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's $5,000 for you?
For thinking.
For thinking?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's no artwork, no branding, no visual, no nothing. If you want me to think about your problem. Because it's not me. We're a team.
Let's say my business is not even worth $5,000. So
then you're talking to the wrong person. Yeah, figure it out yourself. Ingia YouTube, nunua bundle, jifunze mwenyewe. Hakuna kitu cha ajabu tunachokifanya ambacho wewe huwezi kukifanya. Kwani sisi tulifundishwa chuo. Hivi vitu haviko chuo, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, tunafanya, tuna uzoefu zaidi yako labda. Lakini kusema kweli, if you really decide, if you decide this morning, well, it's not a morning, tomorrow morning, if you decide that, hey, you know what, I want to learn how to make websites, hushindwi. So you have to decide, is this worth my effort, my time, and my skills? Or am I good at this and I want somebody else to do this website for me? Marketing is something that anybody can do. Hatufanani uwezo, but anybody can do it. And usually, if you don't have money, you have time. So if you don't have 5K, you probably have the time to figure it out by yourself.
So personally, how long have you been doing marketing?
Professionally, I guess this would be 14 years. Yeah.
So basically, people are paying you for your 14 years of experience, not just what you're doing to them at the moment.
Exactly. Yeah. So you decide, do you want to, maybe it won't take you 14 years as much as it took me, but do you want to spend 4 years to learn how to do branding? Or do you want to talk to somebody who's done enough branding? They can give you guaranteed results, but at what we think is a fair price.
Yeah. So as we were talking behind cameras, I told you a lot of people will see you, let's say you're doing a podcast, and without knowing the context, maybe they'll just see a short reel on Instagram or on TikTok, and they'll start insulting, criticizing, and talking shit. So how do you handle criticism from this kind of people?
Those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. Fuck them.
Those who mind
don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. Everything has an audience.
Never gets in your mind.
Nah, and it doesn't cross my mind, kabis.
Do you read comments?
Yeah, all the time. I respond to some of them myself. I have access to all the channels. Yeah.
That's nice.
Hatukwazi kabisa, ni fresh kidogo safi, haina noma. Haina noma.
So where do you see Msasa Podcast in 10 years from now? What's the vision?
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. But we have a dream. Maybe I can share the dream, because a vision is like a vision. It's serious. We have a dream. The dream is embracing failure. Why? Because kama unavyojifunza baiskeli, utadondoka and then you'll stop falling down and then you'll ride the bike smoothly, right? And such is the same with life. So in the process of embracing failure, it will be a beautiful thing if Msasa as a podcast became bigger bigger because the more people we reach, the more potential impact we can have on people's lives. But it would also be a beautiful thing if Msasa could have on-ground things, right, happening, like viewoni. Unajua, not so long ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was with one of my colleagues who's actually here today. Na tulienda UD co-ICT. And we met a bunch of innovators, and these are software developers and IT guys who have beautiful ideas and they don't know how to take things to market. Unaona, so maybe kunaweza kukaa kuna sessions za Msasa about how to take digital products to market, right? Luckily, we've got a little bit of experience with clients, and by ourselves, we also own distro, so we know what e-commerce looks like, and how to balance being a digital and an on-ground, blah, blah, blah. So it'd be nice to be able to have Msasa sessions about Natuka in person. I love that you do events. Good for you. That's beautiful. I think it would be nice if we can explore that as well. It would also be nice to be able to grow into this hub where people can go to avoid making certain mistakes, because you don't have to learn 100% by making your own mistakes. You can learn from other people's mistakes and it helps you. Unajua mtu akishakwambia pale bwana kuna bumps, ukikaribia unapunguza mwendo ili uvuke ile bumps vizuri. Yeah, so the dream is, let's do something that can be of value for a very, very long time for this generation and the next, that will allow people to embrace and appreciate the value of failure. How far it will go, we're not sure. But hiyo ndo ndoto. Impact as many people as possible.
And the name of this podcast goes is Make Your Own Destiny Podcast.
Yeah.
So what advice do you have for viewers in order to make their own destiny that has helped you as well to get to where you are right now?
What advice do I have for viewers
who wants to make their own destiny? Like what tips?
The only thing that can come to mind is do the work and pay the price. Everything has a price. Pay the price, do the sacrifice, do the work. Yeah.
Personally, do you have mentors, like people that you look up to in what we're doing?
So I have people I look up to and I aspire and admire. I don't have mentors. No. I don't have access to those people that I aspire and admire. Yeah.
What's the importance of someone, like what's the benefits of having a mentor and not having a mentor for someone?
I think it's very subjective, bro. So I can't shauri. This is not advice, but I can share my subjective experience. I feel like if you're lucky enough to meet somebody who's willing to give you their time, shukuru Mungu, take as much knowledge as you can. If you're not lucky enough, pick their book, read their thing, listen to their interviews, follow them. You will, if you pay close enough attention, you will notice familiar trends that you can borrow. So is it nice to have a mentor? I guess it is. I've never had one, so I don't know. Do you have to have a mentor? No. Should you look up to certain people? Maybe. I mean, it inspires you. And it inspires you even more when you know how much they failed before they became this amazing thing that you now look up to. Because that's the problem with most people. Most of us young guys, we look at Mwana Falsafa. I see you did an episode with Mwana Efe, yeah? And you're like, yeah, I want to be a politician too. You know, sikajua fanya vitu vingi kinoma kabla hajawa na siasa. Na hata singekuwa mwana siasa, mshikaji yuko vizuri sana. Yeah? Yeah, he's got some experiences. So if you look up to him, should you have his contact? If you're lucky, poor. Because the thing is also, the people that we admire, they are themselves, by the time you're admiring them and seeing them, something is happening in their lives, right? They're also building. They're also busy. So they can't give you that much time. If they can, poor. But if they don't, jiongeze tu mwenyewe. Fuatilia, jifunze, pick a book, watch a video.
Yeah, if you haven't watched the episode about my Faye, just go and explore our channel. You'll see it.
Yeah. Asante. Nashukuru sana. Na set kali. Nimependa jina la Baro. Nimekaa kama kinywaji fulani hivi. Nimekaa barometer, hata niko nazo barometer. Kaka fecha kienyeji afu kinagonga. Asante sana mshikaji wangu. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming and sharing your knowledge. We really appreciate.
Thank you.
And we hope after 50 episodes of Msasa Podcast,
we'll share a strategy.
Yeah, you'll come back here and share.
Amen to that.
I predict you have 1 million subscribers by then.
Amen.
Yeah.
To 1 million subscribers.
So guys, if you want Msasa, as I said, just comment down Msasa and Elisha will come back. See you on the next episode.